principle of polarity. This principle is formulated by the Hermetic science as follows. Everything is dual. Everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. The like and the antagonists are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are half-truths. All paradoxes can be reconciled. This principle teaches us that everything in nature has two poles. And to see it clearly we will present some examples from the facts of life and nature. In the human race exists the male and the female. With respect to our Mother Earth there are day and night. In chemistry we have the acids and bases. In physics, action and reaction. In botany, we have the ovule and pollen. And so, looking at all the facts of life and nature we can find countless examples, because all things and beings have two poles. In referring to this law, we often speak of opposites, but in fact the word opposite is misused because such apparent opposites are the extreme degrees of the same thing. For example, in a pencil, the tip with which we write, and the other end, the eraser, which is not opposite, but is an operative complementary function of the pencil. If we observe ice, frost, hail, cloud, river, dew, are not more than different modes of one and same thing. Water. Water in varying degrees of manifestation, being the ice and the dew the extreme poles of it. In the ideology of human beings, some argue that the matter is the only indisputable reality, and they are called materialists. There is also the opposite end, that is, the pseudo-spiritualists and pseudo-religious, who claim that everything is spirit. Having fanatics that deny the objective reality of the matter, saying as Oriental philosophy that it is only illusion. But the true esoteric Hermetists say that spirit-matter or matter-spirit are the two poles of the unique eternal thing. They say with great wisdom, the matter is coagulated spirit, crystallized, densified, and spirit is subtilized or rarefied matter. But they go much further in his statement saying that between these extremes of the unique and eternal thing there are an infinite gradation from the dense to the subtle, from the subtle to the dense. Each being or state of life occupies its place in this scale according to the type of vibrations it emits. To the extent that the vibrations emitted are more subtle, then it will occupy a higher place in the spiral of life and evolution. And this is how the archangels, angels, thrones, powers, occupy a higher place than the human being. In addition, Hermetic science claims that all movements of the various manifestations of life are made possible by this polarity, thanks to the two calls Jachin and Boaz columns of the Temple of Solomon. When a person speaks is taking a radiating role, and who is listening is playing the role inductive. The planets move in space thanks to two forces, centripetal and centrifugal. Blood flows in our veins and arteries through the systole and diastole of the heart. In the inner life of every human being there are two large columns of which depends on its evolution. The thought and the feeling. Intelligence and sensitivity must be harmonized and balanced. When in a person dominates the brain it can be full of college degrees, but if lacks sensitivity is a poor being unbalanced. Also a man who only is emotional, sensitive, and without strong reasoning ability, and a brilliant intelligence, is also an unbalanced one. And precisely to achieve this balance, this harmony, is that we have come to this school, to actualize consciousness, and to induce the divine sensitivity. About this divine polarity Paracelsus left to humanity a masterly teaching. Man must to think like a philosopher, and to feel like an artist. Related to the Hermetic principle to which we are referring also there is a wonderful reality to be taken into account: preponderance. Thus we see that there is no human being who is so good that it has nothing imperfect, but preponderates in him kindness. As we said before, all movements that happen in life happen through bipolarity. For example, a baby is born thanks to the love of the father and the mother. So we realize that this dualism generates as an inevitable result a ternary. Between the extreme poles of a fruit is the mesocarp. To wit, between the exocarp and endocarp is the mesocarp. Between the body and the spirit of man is the balancing principle, the soul. In the electricity, between the positive pole and the negative pole is the neutral, which is generated through mutual interaction of the positive and negative. Seeing the polarity from the human point of view, our most pressing need is to see our other pole, male or female, with all the mystical devotion that we can.